Hi, for our time of encouragement this morning, we've got something slightly different for you. We teach on forgiveness, knowing how wonderful it is when you forgive people who've hurt you. But now there's a teaching that a special friend of ours, Margaret Cornell, did a few years ago when she was with us, and we wanted to share that. Now, Margaret was promoted to heaven last year, and our hearts go out to her family as they remember that. Margaret and Tony, her husband, were founders of the Lighthouse, which became Ely Christian Fellowship in Ely in Cambridgeshire, and they were a tremendous help to me during the darkest times of my life. So here's Margaret to talk about forgiving yourself.
I know that there's somebody right there listening to us today, and you're struggling with unforgiveness. Well, you know, somebody once said that unforgiveness is like drinking poison yourself and expecting someone else to die. And I want to urge you that if you stay in unforgiveness, all you're doing is making your own life a misery. You know, you're not affecting that, well, mostly we're not affecting that other person. And we're actually cutting ourselves off from the flow of all that God has in our lives. I want to encourage you today. It doesn't matter how much someone has hurt you. It doesn't matter what they did. But for your own sake and for the sake of the kingdom, you need to forgive. You know, I once had a terrible struggle to forgive somebody who truly hurt me more than I can ever say. And you know what I did? I wrote a list of all the things I needed to forgive them for, foolscap sheet. And I took them one by one, and I said, in Jesus' name, I forgive you for this. In Jesus' name, I forgive you for that. And at the end, I said, and that is that. And I closed the book, and I refused to take it up anymore. And I bless that person. I pray for that person. I ask you, Lord, to make them the most blessed on the earth. You know, that day my heart was free, and the flow of God in my life moved afresh, and I knew that my life would never be the same. And so do it today. Do it today. You know, we've said that unforgiveness gives place to the devil. Unforgiveness causes misery in your own life. Unforgiveness is a joy. And, you know, what I find, many people, they maybe can even believe God forgives them, but they can't forgive themselves. You know, there's a deep need for you to forgive yourself. Let yourself go free. Let go. Because if you've asked God and He has forgiven you, you need to do it. Forgive yourself.
We interviewed Margaret some years ago, and her life story, which is so interesting, is in the link here and also in the description on YouTube. Enjoy.